5 Golden Secrets for a Healthy Old Age. Do you know them? Evelyn Harper had always imagined her golden years as a quiet fade into the background, a gentle retreat from the bustle of life she'd known as a schoolteacher for over 4 decades. At 78, she lived alone in a small cottage on the edge of Willow Creek, a sleepy town where the days seemed to blend into one another like the soft ripples on the nearby lake. Her husband, George, had passed 5 years earlier, and her 2 children were grown. Busy with their own families in distant cities, the silence of her home, once a comfort, had begun to feel like a weight pressing down on her chest. Her knees ached, her energy waned, and the mirror reflected a woman she barely recognized, gray hair thinning, eyes dulled by time. She'd resigned herself to this slow unraveling, believing age was an inevitable surrender. But one crisp autumn morning, everything changed. It started with a walk, or rather, the absence of one. Evelyn had been sitting on her porch, sipping lukewarm tea, when she noticed a group of neighbors strolling past, their laughter cutting through the stillness. They were older folks, like her, yet their steps had a bounce she envied, their voices alive with stories she couldn't hear. She watched them disappear around the bend, and for the first time in months, a spark of curiosity flickered within her. Why did they seem so vibrant while she felt like a shadow? That afternoon, she decided to find out. She slipped on her worn sneakers, grabbed her coat, and stepped outside, determined to take a short walk around the block. The air was cool, tinged with the scent of fallen leaves, and as she moved, something shifted. Her legs, stiff at first, loosened with each step. Her breath deepened, pulling in the crispness of the day, and by the time she returned home, a faint smile tugged at her lips. It wasn't much, just 10 minutes, but it felt like a victory. The next day, she went again. Then the day after that. Soon, walking became her ritual. She'd lace up her shoes, step into the world, and let her feet carry her through the quiet streets of Willow Creek. She began to notice things she'd overlooked: the way the sunlight danced on the lake, the chatter of birds in the oaks, the friendly nod of a passing stranger. Her heart, which had felt sluggish for so long, seemed to beat with new purpose. She remembered reading once, years ago, about a study from Harvard, how regular walking could slash heart disease risk by 40%. Back then, it was just trivia for her students, but now it was real. Each step pumped life through her veins, delivering oxygen to her tired cells, steadying her blood pressure, and keeping diabetes, a shadow that loomed in her family history, at bay. She didn't need a doctor to tell her she was stronger. She felt it in the way her knees complained less, in the energy that lingered past noon. But walking did more than heal her body, it soothed her soul. On those quiet mornings, as the world woke up around her, she felt a lightness she hadn't known since George was alive. The stress of loneliness, the nagging ache of loss, they melted away with the rhythm of her strides. She'd read somewhere that movement released endorphins, those little bursts of happiness, and she believed it now. One day, she ventured farther, to the park at the town's edge, and sat on a bench to watch children play. Their laughter reminded her of her own grandkids, and for a moment, she forgot her isolation. Walking wasn't just exercise, it was a bridge back to life. She didn't need fancy gear or a gym membership, just her own 2 feet and a willingness to move. And so, she kept going, day after day, each walk a quiet promise to herself that she wasn't done living yet. As weeks turned to months, Evelyn realized that walking alone wasn't enough. Her body felt better, but something was still off. She'd catch herself reaching for a bag of cookies or a greasy takeout meal, habits she'd fallen into since George's passing. Food had become a comfort, not a choice, and her waistline told the story. One evening, flipping through an old magazine, she stumbled on an article about aging and diet. It wasn't news to her: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, but it hit differently now. She wanted those vibrant years the neighbors seemed to have, not just a longer life dragged down by fatigue. The next morning, she opened her fridge and frowned at the half-empty jars of jam and processed cheese. It was time for a change. She started small. At the grocery store, she picked up apples instead of pastries, spinach instead of chips. She swapped white bread for a hearty loaf of whole grain and traded soda for a jug of water infused with lemon slices. It wasn't about deprivation. She still savored a square of dark chocolate now and then, but about fueling herself right. She learned to love the crunch of fresh carrots, the sweetness of berries, the way a handful of almonds kept her full. The article had warned against processed foods, sugar-laden traps that invited diabetes and heart trouble, and she saw the truth in it. Her mother had battled high blood pressure, and Evelyn didn't want that legacy. So she cooked more simple dishes like grilled fish with steamed broccoli or a bowl of oatmeal topped with fruit. She planned her meals, jotting down ideas on a notepad, and found it saved her from those late-night pizza runs. Water became her ally, too. She'd never noticed how little she drank until she started carrying a bottle everywhere. Her skin, once dry as parchment, began to soften and her energy steadied. Fiber, from beans and greens, kept her digestion smooth, no more lingering discomfort after meals. She felt lighter, not just in weight but in spirit. One day, her daughter called, surprised to hear Evelyn bustling in the kitchen mid-conversation. "You sound different, Mom," she said, and Evelyn smiled. She was different, stronger, clearer, ready to chase her grandkids around when they visited next. Food wasn't just sustenance anymore, it was her foundation, a daily choice to thrive, not just survive. With her body waking up, Evelyn turned to her mind. Teaching had kept her sharp, but retirement had dulled her edges. She'd forget names, misplace keys, and sometimes sit in silence, lost in a fog. It scared her. Her father had slipped into dementia, and she dreaded that fate. Then one afternoon, sorting through old books, she found a worn copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. She'd taught it 100 times, but this time, she read it for herself. The words pulled her in, sharpened her focus, and when she finished, she felt a thrill she'd forgotten. Reading wasn't just a pastime, it was a workout for her brain. She dug deeper. At the library, she borrowed mysteries and biographies, losing herself in new worlds. She tried crosswords, fumbling at first but grinning when she cracked them. A neighbor invited her to a chess club, and though she hadn't played since college, she gave it a shot. The mental dance of strategy rekindled something in her. Her memory sharpened, her thoughts quickened. She even signed up for a painting class at the community center, dipping brushes into colors she hadn't touched since childhood. Each stroke forced her brain to adapt, forging new connections. She read once that an active mind could cut Alzheimer's risk by 35%, and while she didn't dwell on numbers, she felt the difference. Conversations flowed easier, decisions came faster, and she rediscovered a curiosity she thought she'd lost. Social ties wove into this, too. The chess club became a weekly highlight. Lively debates over moves and books filled her with warmth. She'd chat with the librarian, swap recipes with classmates, and even started meditating, just 5 minutes of quiet breathing to clear the clutter. Her mind wasn't just active, it was alive, a tool for independence and joy. She'd sit on her porch, sketching the sunset, and think, this is what living feels like. But Evelyn knew her body needed more than walks. Her arms trembled lifting groceries, and a near slip on the stairs jolted her awake. She'd heard of sarcopenia, muscle loss with age, and didn't want it to steal her freedom. So she started strength training, not with barbells but with what she had. She'd sit and stand from a chair 10 times, feeling her legs firm up. She lifted water bottles for arm curls, surprised at how her shoulders steadied. Planks, even on her knees, tightened her core, and wall push-ups made her chest stronger. She didn't push hard, just enough to grow. The payoff was immediate. Her balance improved, no more wobbling on uneven paths. Her bones, she read, grew denser, fending off osteoporosis. She carried laundry baskets without strain, opened jars without help. Falls, a specter for so many her age, felt less threatening. She moved with purpose, not fear, and that confidence spilled into everything. One day, she climbed the hill behind her house, something she hadn't done in years, and stood at the top, breathless but triumphant. Strength wasn't just physical, it was her ticket to independence, a declaration she could still shape her life. The final piece fell into place with people. Loneliness had been her quiet companion since George's death, a void she'd accepted. But one Sunday, Hearing laughter from a neighbor's barbecue, she hesitated, then joined them. A woman her age waved her over, and soon they were talking like old friends. That spark grew. She joined a book club, volunteered at the food pantry, even danced at a community event, her feet clumsy but her heart light. She called her kids more, wrote letters to her grandkids, and found online groups for gardeners like her. Each connection filled a gap she hadn't named. Research said social ties could boost longevity by 50%, and Evelyn felt it: less stress, more laughter, a body and mind humming with life. She wasn't alone anymore, she was part of something. One evening, hosting the book club at her cottage, she looked around at the faces lit by candlelight and realized she'd built a new family. Her golden years weren't fading, they were glowing. Months later, Evelyn stood in her garden, harvesting tomatoes she'd grown herself. She walked daily, ate well, kept her mind sharp, stayed strong, and cherished her friends. She wasn't the shadow she'd been, she was alive, vibrant, a testament to 5 simple habits. Her kids noticed, her neighbors marveled, and she knew it wasn't luck. It was choice. Small steps, 10 minutes here, an apple there, a page read, a lift, a hello, had woven a tapestry of health and joy. Age wasn't surrender, it was her canvas, and she was painting it bold.
Please like, share, subscribe to the channel and comment with your email so we can send you a great ebook for seniors. Thank you for watching the video on Senior Vitality TV channel.